Hey, I'm Adam Jusko, and this is Adam Answers, where we answer the burning and not so burning questions of the day. In this video, does Amazon hire ex-felons? That's what we're going to talk about. If the video is helpful to you, please subscribe. So if you're someone that has a felony in your background, you probably already know that gaining employment is not the easiest thing in the world. The good news for you, as far as Amazon is concerned, is that they are growing like crazy and continuing to need more and more people to fill the many jobs that Amazon requires. And so they may be open to ex-felons depending on what the story is behind that felony. Now, you're not going to find any statement from Amazon anywhere where they encourage ex-felons to apply or say, yes, you can apply and we might hire you, but there's also nothing out there that says that they automatically discount you or disqualify you if you do have a felony. It is on a case-by-case basis, which means if you apply to Amazon and you get an interview with Amazon, they will consider the circumstances of that felony. Now, when it comes to getting hired at Amazon with a felony on your record, not every job is going to be open to you. Also, the type of felony you have in your past is going to come into play and may disqualify you, or it may not disqualify you. And then, of course, the length of time since you had that felony could also come into play. So let's talk about each aspect of that. Number one, if you're going to get hired by Amazon, it is probably going to be as a warehouse fulfillment type worker if you have a felony on your record. You're not going to get jobs as drivers or other things of that nature. You're probably going to have to start in the warehouse, and then over time, perhaps with a good work history, you could work your way to other jobs, but that is going to be the place that Amazon is going to see you as a potential employee if you have a felony in your past. Now, the second aspect, and probably the most important as to whether Amazon might hire you or anyone else might hire you with a felony in your past, is going to be what is the nature of that felony. A lot of different crimes fall under a felony umbrella, you might say. So there are different classes of felony depending on what state you are talking about, and some of them are going to fall under violent felony, some of them are non-violent, and non-violent felonies obviously are going to be a lot less scary than violent felonies in your past. So if you have non-violent felonies, you would think that there is probably less of a roadblock to you getting hired by Amazon or anybody else. So that could be things like drug arrests are probably not going to be quite as scary. Not good necessarily, but not quite as scary. Even things like stealing in the past might not be as scary as long as there is not any violence that is part of it. Now, you might think, well, Amazon doesn't want felons who have stolen something in the past, but if there's not violence behind it and you can show that that is not something that would happen again, then that is something that potentially you could get over that roadblock. But if you have a some sort of felony that is has violence in the past, well, then Amazon's not only thinking about their own bottom line, they're thinking about the safety of the people that you might be working with. And then the third aspect is going to be, how long has it been since that felony? Obviously, the longer, the better. If you have a felony that is 10 years in the past, that obviously is not going to be as scary as someone that has a felony that is 2 years in the past, especially if that felony that was 10 years in the past has been followed by 10 years of clean living and a clean record. So that is going to come into play as well. Now, as you go through the hiring process with Amazon, at some point there are going to be some potential questions about any criminal background. You are going to want to be honest about those. Depending on when it comes up, what you would like to do is push those questions as far as possible to the end of the hiring process so you can start to impress upon Amazon that you would be a valuable employee. So they are going to do a background check on you. So if you get to the point of an interview and it hasn't come up any questions about your criminal background and you have that felony on your record, you're going to want to bring it up and actually say, I do have this felony on my record and I want to make sure it does not disqualify me. This is something that happened in the past. I want to tell you what happened and make you feel comfortable that this is not something that would happen again, and it's not something that would have any bearing on my ability to be a valuable employee for Amazon. So you want to have the best possible version of the story behind your felony ready to go whenever you have to discuss it with someone at Amazon. And then you also want to have the story of how you have changed since that felony happened, whatever the circumstances might be, whether you have had more schooling or you have had other employment and you have done well at it, or if you've just simply not done anything wrong since you had that felony. Whatever is going to make them feel better about you is what you want to put out there. In the end, what you want to get across to them is that you have changed, and the person you were when that felony was committed is not the person you are now. It's not something that's going to happen again. It's almost a different lifetime that this even happened. You are a changed person. This is what they want to hear, because if they're going to hire you, they want to make sure that you have sort of atoned for the fact that you have this felony and you have changed your life. But of course, no matter how good you are at telling your story, there's still going to be those same aspects that come into play. How bad was the felony? How long ago was the felony? What have you done since the felony? And how badly does Amazon need workers? Sometimes getting your foot in the door is only going to be a matter of getting in there at the right time when someone is ready to take a chance on you, because of the fact that they really need bodies. And you know, whatever it takes, right? If you want to get your foot in the door and you want to get a job there, if you are there at the right time and your story is good enough for them to say you seem like someone that has changed, well, then you might get hired. So yes, Amazon does hire ex-felons, and you can go to various sites online, especially employment sites, and you'll see testimonials from people who say that they had a felony in their past and were hired by Amazon. But don't let that fool you in any way that it's unimportant to the process. Obviously, if you have that felony on your record, you are going to have a higher mountain to climb than other people that are going after that same job that don't have the felony on their record. So you are going to have to work harder to make them feel good about you in order to get that job, but it could happen. So that is it for this video. If you have any experience with this yourself with Amazon and having a felony in your past, I'd love to hear your comments in the comments section below. If you have any questions, put those down there too. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if this was helpful, and we'll see you soon.